family under financial strain. It's a story that's new tonight.
Her job is to keep inmates inside the Fayette County Detention Center healthy. But right now, she can't even pay her rent. Amber Robinson hasn't seen a paycheck in the past 3 weeks. If you've ever lived paycheck to paycheck, Robinson's situation may feel familiar.
I don't have any cushion or much of savings to last me another 2 weeks. I'm basically kind of like robbing Peter to pay Paul.
Robinson has worked at the detention center for over the past decade, first as a correctional officer, now as a health assistant for YesCare, the company that contracts with the jail for mental and medical services. She's also the mother of 2 daughters, a 3-year-old and a high school senior who depend on her for support. But she's not alone. Robinson says more than 100 employees have gone without a check. But inside the detention center, the mother of 2 says the problems extend far beyond paychecks, impacting supplies and resources used to care for inmates.
It's affecting patient care such as medication, supplies, appointments, things that direct patient care you need.
A colleague who asked to remain anonymous says the company has struggled to pay vendors, forcing workers to seek supplies elsewhere.
What we have in stock is all that we have left. The company has had to send employees to Walmart and Kroger to pick up over-the-counter medication so we can continue to supply.
Both workers say patient health has not been impacted. In a statement, Lexington Chief of Corrections Scott Colvin says they have been in contact with the medical and mental health leadership team following YesCare's bankruptcy filing, adding the jail is working toward a solution but did not provide specifics. As the calendar flips to another day, Amber Robinson will keep showing up to work, wondering when her next paycheck will come and how much longer she can wait. In Lexington, Jackson Plank, WKYT.
WKYT